My name is Shubha Menon. For the most part of my career, I've been a copywriter. Now I like to call myself an author. And I have bipolar disorder. It was diagnosed about, I would say, 30 years ago. So the initial years when it was first diagnosed, and even before it was diagnosed, were very, very difficult. I was in advertising, and we would be given briefs, and then we would have to come up with headlines and ideas and all. And I would kind of freeze, and then I would think that I just can't do this, and my life would be just about this entire mess in my head that I can't do it, and if I don't do it, then what will happen. Before I was diagnosed, I actually quit 2 jobs. So I used to go in the morning to work, and I used to just sit with my head down. And when somebody did give me some work to do, I would force myself to somehow do it. And I would do it also so badly that it would not get approved. And then again, I would have to steel myself to try again. It was horrid. And then when I was in this other agency called Lintas, same thing. I was fine. I was doing brilliantly. I was so happy, and all briefs, I could respond so creatively, till one day I went into a dip and a depression, and then I couldn't do anything. And it became so bad that I had to quit. But once I got diagnosed and then I went on to lithium, things became much better. And I could function normally most of the time. So now I think people are far more transparent, and even organizations know that there is something called mental illness. But I'm talking about some 20, 25 years ago where nobody talked about mental illness. So there was no question of going to the management and saying that I have a problem, because I think it would have meant that they would have sacked me immediately. So all my problems were pre-medication. So at that time, even I didn't know what is going on with me. But the last organization I worked for, before I kind of quit regular work, it's called Ogilvy. We used to have this art director, copywriter teams who would share a room. So one day my art director says that, this room doesn't have a window, and I have bipolar disorder, and I think I have to have a room with a lot of sunlight. And I'm looking at her and I was telling her, hey, even I'm bipolar. So we both were like very happy to meet each other again. And then I got a lot of guts. Then I wrote a mail to the management saying that, we are two bipolar girls sitting in a room without any natural light. So you have to do something about it. And they did. They gave us a room with natural light, But I don't know what understanding they had of bipolar and all. I don't know. But they were nice enough to give us a room with big, big windows. So I think, yes, the people are becoming more accepting now than they were then. I think that the problem stems from stigma. The mental illness is so stigmatized, and so people don't want to talk about it. And employers get frightened by, oh, so-and-so has this schizophrenia. My God, how can we, keep him on the rolls? So, just like a person with diabetes can go and say that, I have diabetes, and expect some support, or someone who say, limps or doesn't have one arm, would expect support from the management. Similarly, people with mental illness should be able to, as a right, expect support from the management. I think that is what is needed. And for that, the whole thing is educating people, So I'm contributing as much as the next person. So there should be no hesitation in employing people with mental disorder. Okay, they may have days when they are down, but they have, they are better also in some ways, I'm sure, especially creative people. I don't know what has caused the change, but there is definitely a change. Earlier, if you went on Facebook, there was no mention of mental health. Today, if you go, there are so many groups. There's so many people reaching out and saying, you want to talk to somebody, I am here. And especially now after the COVID, mental illness is now in focus. So yes, there has been a shift, but I don't know who's caused it and what has caused it, but it's a very welcome thing. Though it has to kind of penetrate down to the villages and smaller towns also, where the problem is very much there. and the facilities are just not there, and the understanding is zero. So they need it also a lot more. So from the cities, the next thing we must do is go to the smaller places.